goodness.
Ah,
I can't wait. I can't wait. I
but
really can't
then-
wait. I don't know. I just can't wait. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
I know we're
yeah,
supposed to
that's
start
right.
on
Okay, give me
time.
a
I'm
sec,
going to
I get
start
some
I love
water.
that
earlier.
spirit.
Otherwise, you get sleepy, okay?
Yo, we feel energetic when we talk about space.
Don't sleep in my
That's
history
right.
class.
That's right.
Ah!
That's right. We talk about space. We talk about satellite. Right. That will be fantastic.
Mhm.
1 second. Let me just adjust the temperature for me.
You guys sudah makan lah? Saya belum makan lagi tau.
Ya kan?
Yeah,
Oh.
selepas session only baru saya makan. It's normal lah, because if you ask me to go and makan right now lah, I'll be too full lah. And then I biasa bila makan lah, I got a problem lah. Nanti aku tidur lah. That is my joke. That is my joke. Shankar says I have not cracked a joke. That's my joke.
Okay, okay. I'll take it lah. Okay. I'll take it lah.
Okay, we've already connected to Facebook and YouTube, so
Okay.
we are ready to rock and roll, Shankar. It's your
Okay.
show. Okay.
All right.
Sean,
Probably
Sean.
we just wait for Dr. Sean to come in. But as for now, we can just have the crowd let us know how you guys are, where you guys are from, a little bit, just to let you guys know. For the ones on Zoom, you can always just drop your Q&A and chat with us, and you feel free to chat with any one of us. And also, if you have any questions for all the panelists for today, please feel free to drop there. For Facebook, please feel free to drop it at the comment section, and we will follow through there, right? Okay, everyone good to go? Let's start this. Okay, so thank you all for coming for today's session, right? Just a quick shout out. Today's session is going to be a lot about space, almost covering the entire field, simply because ever since Angkasa-X has started raising on pitch-in, we've been getting questions from a lot of our investors specific to space. And they want to know more than just what they're investing in. They want to know about the entire segment. And God bless, thank you, Dr. Sean and Dr. William, for having Hafiz and Dr. Noor for the session as well, to also help us enlighten and further explain, right? So before further ado, I guess for the new attendees, I mean, Dr. Sean and Dr. William are regular for us, but probably you all can introduce yourself. Probably can start with Dr. Sean.
Hello, good evening. I am Sean. Okay, I'm the co-founder and executive chairman of Angkasa-X. For those who are new to these sessions, you hear a lot from me, try to convince you that Angkasa-X and space and satellite is a mission possible for Malaysia. Okay, again, thank you for attending this event, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.
So you sound like you wrapped the whole session up, sir. We're just starting.
It's a welcome. It's a welcome. I thank you, everyone. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Dr. William, do you mind? Can you also introduce yourself, sir?
Sure, Shankar. Okay, thanks, Shankar. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. William. I am the executive director of Angkasa-X Group, and I look after the operations of the company. And my partner, Dr. Sean, here has always been on my back, and I got to make sure I deliver. Just to keep it that. But anyway, that is what I would like to let everyone outside there knows, that we shall deliver. We shall deliver, and we shall go to space for the sake of the entire region to get the internet connectivity up. Thank you.
So Dr. William, even before you started, Spectre just gave a huge shout out and said, finally, we have a private space program in Malaysia. So yeah, please, a little bit about yourself.
All right. Okay. Hi. Very good. Good afternoon. Okay. So my name is
I
Hafiz
think it's
Muzal.
night everywhere, sir.
It's night, huh? I don't want to sleep until then.
Good
Are you in
afternoon.
UK?
Good afternoon in Europe.
Okay, that's my joke. All right, that's great. So I'm Hafiz Mirza. I'm from CEO and founder of 𝐷𝐴𝐴, space education program. So I deal with kids, teenage, and also public talking about space, and just want to bring them for the excitement of space and to help them to grow for Malaysia space industry.
Dr. Noor, a bit about yourself, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Nurilmi. I'm founder for Space Engineer Berhad, a spin-off company for University Science Malaysia. I'm also lecturer, and I'm also the first president of Malaysia Space Initiative. Looks like I want to do everything.
Space related.
Indeed.
But it actually gives me a lot of experience in this space industry. I've been in the industry nearly 10 years, so hopefully I can give some thoughts on these industries.
God bless.
Very good.
I guess before we just start out with all the questions that we already have in place, we probably can just have a quick video that gives you an overview for Angkasa-X, just to give introduction to those who haven't had the introduction yet. Right, it's just a quick 3-minute video, and then we can go right into the questions. And the crowd, by the way, feel free to ask any questions directed to any of the panelists. We will get to every one of it today.
In light of the ongoing global COVID-19 pandemic, it is necessary to accelerate the pace of digital transformation, as information and communications technology are used to sustain daily lives and support business continuity. However, it has also exposed the wide chasm between the connected and the unconnected, revealing just how far behind many are on digital uptake. The International Telecommunication Union, the specialized agency of the United Nations, reported at the end of 2019 that almost half of the Earth's inhabitants, 3.6 billion people, do not even have access to the internet. We all need internet connectivity to improve the standard of living, eradicate poverty, especially to those living in the rural areas. Low Earth orbit LEO satellites, the present-day advanced alternative solution to terrestrial network infrastructure, connecting people to the internet from the orbit, being able to reach remote parts of any country and region. Low latency, lightweight, enables higher throughput, rapid deployment, less vulnerable to weather conditions, low variable cost, allows backhaul to remote locations. Angkasa-X, a technological social inclusion company, strives to provide internet connectivity as a necessity for the betterment of mankind by offering an innovative satellite as a service to countries in ASEAN, where traditional terrestrial fiber network is limited. It consists of a group of companies investing in research and development, intellectual property creation, components sourcing and testing, assembly and manufacturing, launching and maintaining state-of-the-art low Earth orbit LEO satellites. We believe in a technological social inclusion future by provisioning talent development, technology transfer, ecosystems development, to enable digitization with scalable and affordable technology solutions, creating digital ecosystems by building and developing platforms as use cases for different communities and industries, to develop skills and human capital by working with local governments, organizations, communities, and other partners to improve society's digital advancement. Establishing ASEAN space economy via ASEAN Link satellite constellation. In ASEAN, for ASEAN.
Very good.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So I wanted to start out the session by actually speaking to Dr. Noor first, because I know how much history you have and how much knowledge you have in space, and I wanted you to go over the history of the Malaysian space ecosystem. But before I direct my questions to you, you know I have to ask Dr. Sean the first question.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is going to be the most direct question, Dr. Sean. Do you think we have what it takes to design a satellite to the level of which is being designed internationally?
Absolutely. We have the talent, we have the expertise, we have the ecosystem. Okay, I am very convinced, okay, we have the world-class talent in Malaysia with the years experience that we have designed our own satellites. not only for the country of Malaysia, but our team actually have designed satellite for other countries as well. Okay, I am a true believer. We can deliver a design in Malaysia satellites, a buatan Malaysia satellite for ASEAN.
Right. Okay, Dr. Noor. So this was a very specific question, and I remember getting on the phone with you and speaking about it. And I love how I think you prepared slides for it. But this was a very technical question. That's why I wanted to ask you even pre-hand. So with the Angkasa-1 program and also the 𝐷𝐷𝐷, that these are the things that we have done before. I wanted to know as much as possible in terms of the background history of the space industry, and what is the motivations, behind initiating all the space programs that Malaysia did, whether it's historically and even current in place.
Okay.
Big question.
Right. Shall I? I share my slide first. This is history class. So normally in history class, you're going to sleep if you don't see anything. So I made this a timeline so we can see clearly what happened in Malaysia since 1980s. I will answer the question on motivation first. I think it's not I think. The motivation for the space activities in Malaysia is all about Vision 2020, which is initiated by the previous Prime Minister Tun Mahathir Mohamad. So one of the strategic challenge for this Vision 2020 is to establish the scientifically advanced and progressive society based on science and technology. So when they look on this, they think that space science, they identify space science as one area that could accelerate this development of STI. So everything is about Vision 2020. Start from there. That's the motivation. Even 𝐷𝐷𝐷 also start because this motivation of Vision 2020. So Vision 2020 give big impact for us to strive in STI. So you can see that we started with MACRES, the Remote Sensing Agency, and then we established the Planetarium Division in 1989. This is when they're thinking to have the space science. And after that, we have BAKSA, Bahagian Sains Angkasa, which is this planetarium division is under Prime Minister Department. Then when we have this BAKSA, is transferred to the MOSTI office. And the same year, we have ATSB. ATSB is Astronautic Technologies Berhad, the government-linked company, which is wholly subsidiary by the Ministry of Finance Malaysia. So why we have ATSB? Because BAKSA actually looking for the space technology. So when we have ATSB was mandated to develop a space and also satellite technology. And they also need to conduct research in technology innovation for space industry. So we already have a company, we have already started something, industry there from the ATSB. And we also have 𝐷𝐷𝐷 started around this 1994. And then we launched 𝐷𝐷𝐷-1, 𝐷𝐷𝐷-2 in 1996. So we can say that Malaysia is actually reached the space industry, have a space industry starting in 1996. Yeah. So it's a long time ago. We already have that. But it's more on, we call that downstream segment. We have upstream and downstream segment. Then in 2000, we have 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐷. Why we have 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐷? Because we want to develop the talent. We want to have a capacity building for Malaysia in satellite development. Then we established National Space Agency. This is in 2002. And we have BAKSA before, BAKSA and National Space Agency. We combine together, we form Angkasa that we have now, before MISA, Angkasa 2004. Then we have this program, we call that astronaut program. I think this is very famous program where in 2007, our Malaysian astronaut, Sheikh Muzaffar, traveled to ISS. Then in 2009, we start to launch, we launched 𝐷𝐷𝐷. So you can see this is a very active area from 1980s to 2009. But there is gap there. From 2009, nothing happened until 2017, where they have this national space policy created. national space policy is the fundamental for the Space Act, the space bill that we're going to get approval in Parliament. And
This is sorry, yeah. This is a Malaysian space policy, yeah.
yes,
For the
Malaysia,
27. Oh, okay, right, brilliant.
not yet for the Space Act. It's just the policy first.
Right.
And then after like how many years, from 2009 to 2018, then we launched a satellite. This is the first university satellite, 𝐕𝐈𝐑𝐓𝐔. Then in 2019, we have Malaysia Space Agency, we call MISA. So we already have this space agency, Angkasa here, but MISA is actually combination between the remote sensing and also Angkasa. So we form MISA here. Then we already have the space policy. From there, we developed the RUU Angkasa, the space bill. And we know that last year it was read by our minister, 𝐷 Jamaluddin. And it was first read, I think, in December or November. And it's waiting for debate for this RUU. So we are waiting this RUU to be approved by Parliament. And at the same time, MISA come up with Malaysian Space Exploration 2030, which is something how we actually can do for this space industry. So if you see here, I have quite a good timeline for here. You can see the launch, the Angkasa-1, and also the launch of 𝐕𝐈𝐑𝐓𝐔. And we reached this era. So there's two different era. Even though we already have this MIASAT launch, the industry already there, but we can say that we entered the new era in the 2020 and 2021. Why? Because there's more private companies involved in space. So it's quite special there. So I'm going to explain after this.
Okay, so if I may, right, just a quick, if you may go back to your previous slide. I'm sorry, the rest of the panelists and the crowd, please, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask as well. But we've started quite early in the journey, right? 1988 is quite early, and we launched our first satellite in literally 25 years ago. And we've started so early, but where are we currently as compared to probably the Southeast Asian region, right? As internationally, we're probably still not there, but what about the Southeast Asian region? Where's our stance now?
When we compare ourselves in the Southeast Asia region, we have to look on the policy side, budget, the ecosystem, and also the technology that every country have. So the first one, we look at the policy. So in terms of policy, I told you before that Malaysia already started develop the space bill, and we already present the space bill and waiting for the approve. So this actually something will propel us for the space industry. But at the same time, there's two countries that already have the Space Act, which is Indonesia. Indonesia started very early in 2013, and Philippines in 2018. Philippines have the Space Act, so they can create the space agency, or they call that Philippine Space Agency. And Indonesia have the Space Act so that they can develop the aerospace technology and also launching the commercial space activities. And so we actually, but the other country is yet to have the Space Act. So among all the Southeast Asia, we're among the earlier to have the Space Act. And if we're looking on the budget, at the budget, maybe we are not really on the par with the other Southeast Asian countries. If you see Vietnam is the top one. They have the highest budget for their space. And I think there's a report before this by Euroconsult that Vietnam is the largest spender within the Asian group. And I think the previous paper, they said that they invest like 1 billion for the remote sensing satellite. So they kind of ahead us. But at the same time, if you're looking at Malaysia, even though the government don't have very large budget for the space, but now we can see the private sector start to come in to invest. And this very active activity, I can say it's very active now. And we have more investment from the private. And this is good actually to push the industry forward. So
Right.
even though we don't have the large budget, but the involvement of the private sector will push this industry.
Right. Right before I touch on the private section, I'm just going to take a question from the crowd as well. So as he asked, what is the, probably a very high overview, what do you think is the accomplishment of 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿 and 𝐷𝐿-SAT, the ones launched in 2000 and 2009?
Okay.
If you can give your comments on it. Yeah.
𝐷𝐿-SAT is for the capacity building. From 𝐷𝐿-SAT, we train a few engineers, and also 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿-SAT, we also train a few engineers. And these engineers have all the skill to build the satellite. And even today, they actually, even though they're not working in Malaysia before this, and they went to other countries, their skill is very useful for that country. So I think the biggest achievement here is to produce a talent for this 𝐷𝐿-SAT and 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿-SAT. And 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿-SAT actually give us the, we call that, this is like a study for near equatorial orbit. Before 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿-SAT, none of the satellite placed in near equatorial orbit. And when we place 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿-SAT, we study something from here. That's a big contribution actually for the space sector. So start from 𝐷𝐷𝐿-SAT, then we have a few satellite that learn from the 𝐷𝐷𝐿-SAT launch at near equatorial orbit.
Okay, so if you can, Dr. Noor, you were mentioning about a lot about the private segment, and you say the private segment is now about to disrupt what is a traditional space, right? Is this by any chance what's the now, I guess, the new cooler kids in town are calling new space? Is that what, is there any correlation between this? Probably you can touch a bit on that.
Yes, there's a new space. I think the new space is the phrase that we in the space sector love to talk about or to see about that new space.
Right.
So new space is when the private actors are playing the more prominent roles and having their own goals in conducting the space business, which is independently from the government. So you can see here, I give you this comparison between the traditional and also the new space. So you can see the traditional, previously we have all the missions goals set by the government. So because of this, why they have their own goal? Because they define the mission, they have the boundaries within their political and social force. So sometimes the mission, because they have the political will or they have the requirement to do something on agriculture. So this is all set by the government. And because this is government and because it's a public funding, it must be low risk activities. So they don't take any high risk activities like launch rocket. Launch rocket is quite high risk activities. So they play safe on that. So make sure that all the fund that they use is giving back, giving the ROI. So they make sure all the things happen. But for the new space, you see that this is non-governmental market goals. So any company can have their own goals based on their market force. So now we see that people want to go to space to experience the space. So we have the space tourism there. So it's something that we can't really think that we want to stay at hotel in the moon, on the moon. So it's something that new. And also this is risk-taking activities. You can see that something that we think that this is absurd and we think this is not, we can't do this, but for the new space is something that they can do and they have a market for that. Right. And of course, for this space, they have this private funding and also innovative business. So you can see the trend for the new space. So we have upstream and downstream. Upstream is more on you making the satellite, you making the rocket, the development of the technology for the upstream. So for the upstream, we see the trend that we have smaller satellite. We have CubeSat. Now we have Pocket Cube, the very, very small, 5x5x5. Small satellite that can actually do the same thing, but maybe a little bit low performance as compared to bigger satellites. And we have mega constellation. This is what AngkasaX will do, the constellation for the near equatorial orbit. And also we have the on-orbit services like refueling the satellite. Can you imagine you refuel the satellite up there? So this is something, the new things in this new space trend. And also for the downstream market, the application of the satellite. So we have this space IoT, we have the space tourism, we have this Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos doing the space tourism and the space mining. So you can see that also we have disruptive market solutions. So for this, when we have very small satellite, you will have very low price to develop that, where reduce the lead time, reduce the cycle. With the you can reduce the mass of the satellite. This small satellite will cost you less to launch to the orbit. So from there, actually, the change reaction, you can have a smaller rocket. Now everyone wants to build a rocket to launch a satellite. So the more business come up from this market solution, the new market solutions. And of course, last is private investment. Must be is the different mechanism like we are doing now. We have the capital ventures, we have angel. So everyone now can invest in space.
And crowdfunding.
Yeah, the crowdfunding. There is a company is doing crowdfunding. Yes. So this is something new actually. So we call this a new space trend.
Thank you. That's very informative. I didn't know we went back to 1980 something. Yeah.
Yes. We'll start with history before we go into the future.
I didn't even know. I thought it was in the 90s things. Yeah. So we went far enough.
Okay, so before we go into Hafiz to talk about the future of space instead, I have a question for you, Dr. William, right? A very more generic question, right? This is more for Angkasa-X, and the questions that I'm going to pose to Hafiz are going to be very much on children and the future of space. But then I just would like to know as well, how will Angkasa-X assist Malaysia in building the next generation of satellite engineers?
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, our first one of Angkasa-X first initiative is to form a collaboration with one of the local universities known as University of Science Malaysia. We actually did a collaborative agreement with them to develop the latest generation of satellite engineering courseware itself. So from here, we hope that all the next generation of so-to-be engineers will benefit from this program here. This program, we intend to actually replicate not just only with University of Science Malaysia, but we intend to replicate it all across the selected universities in Malaysia, and of course, doing the same thing across the Southeast Asia region, thereby hoping this talent development program that we can bring about more talents in the industry and more awareness, and more people will be enthusiastic about space and bring towards their so-called enthusiasm here to contribute to the nation and to the surrounding region.
Right. Right. Okay. Anyone else want to add before I pass it over to Hafiz?
That's great.
Hafiz, I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
Come
Hafiz. First, I have to say, I love the name Apa di Langit, right? I think it's a very apt name given for whatever you're doing and how you work with children, right? So, just a very general question: how exposed are Malaysian children when it comes to space? What are your take on the general feel of how exposed Malaysian children are to space?
All right. Thank you, Shankar. So before I start to answer your question, let me throw you one question first. What do you guys think? Why didn't son go college? Why didn't the son go to college? Why didn't son go to college? Why
the son, as in the son?
Yes. Why didn't the son go to college?
Good question.
Good question.
I have no idea.
Good question. No idea.
Okay, guys, it's because it already had 1 million degrees.
Oh,
That's
okay.
a good one. Okay, Hafiz, that's a good one.
I can use that in my class.
Okay.
It has 1 million degrees already, so why must the son go to college? All right, okay, that's all for the job. All right, so to start with, I would like to introduce myself. First, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Hafiz Mirza, founder and CEO for Apa di Langit. So a little bit introduction about Apa di Langit. I know the name itself quite interesting to understand that what we are doing about space. Basically, Apa di Langit is founded in 2016 by me and my best friend Hazim, and we provide astronomy and space education for kindergarten, school children, and also publics. So we do a lot of activities related to education programs, including camp, talks, and training. So to go back to the questions, how we know about how exposed Malaysian kids about space. The first thing is space is not alien for kids. Our kid has been exposed with space and science since the younger age. Go to the shopping mall, anywhere, you can find a kid t-shirt with a rocket stamp on it, I mean, planets and everything. So a kid already has embedded space in their mind. And it shows that space is something that technology advanced. And if you look at the cartoons, when you talk about space team, it also shows that, wow, the future is there and everything is so nice, so advanced, and they want to be in space. So look at the, like Bubble Boy, you have Galaxy team, right? So kids like it. So we can say that our kids are no longer alien with space. And furthermore, space is also has been taught in the primary and secondary science syllabus. Even though it's not in the one
Oh, they are now?
yeah, they are not in the I mean special subject, but they have in the science topic. Yeah, they have in secondary primary and also secondary schools. So they already know about the planet, they know about the space exploration, they know what the gravity. Even our secondary students learned about the gravity in the physics class. And one more thing right now, because of the information and also the exposure in the internet, the global space activities become common. You know, like SpaceX, just now like what Dr. Nurelmi mentioned about the space exploration, Jeff Bezos, and also Richard Branson, and other more space exploration like China just now, last few months, just sent up their space station. It creates an impact that our kids get exposed and want to know more about what actually happening in space. And it triggered them to know what happened and what actually happening in Malaysia. They want to know, do we have something here? How I can involve? That's what we here in Apa di Langit get all the questions from kids. So when we organized our Mars Exploration Month last February, you know, where the UAE, the American, and also the Chinese went to Mars and landed their rover there, we get about more than 15,000 kids in 1 hour for just for the explanation about what actually happening on Mars. And we have some kids waiting for the Perseverance landed on Mars, and they wake up early at 4 o'clock together with us to watch the landing moment. So you can see they're really interested and curious, want to know. And I do believe that they want to participate in the future. And maybe they want to be as engineers. They want to participate in the space technology in our for our country. So that I can say our kids are exposed, but then how to lead them is more important. How to show them the path and the way where to learn and how to become to participate in the space industries. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? On what are the sort of the grooming stuff that is being done for helping kids enhance their growth in this space, maybe from Apa di Langit or even across Malaysia?
Yeah, actually we have a lot of activities actually happening about space. Some of them in astronomy and also in the space technology. But I will touch more in about Apa di Langit. We offers informal space education for Malaysian kids, teenagers, and also public. We organize a weekly space or astronomy and falak. I mean, for the one is Islamic astronomy classes with numerous topics related to space. And we also bridging scientists, astronomers, engineers to public with numbers of series Apa Nak Tanya talk. We have Apa di Langit, now we have Apa Nak Tanya. So they can ask directly to the engineers, astronomers, or the scientists about what actually happening in space. That one's for public and everyone. And we do also organize training. We train kids, we train universities, school students about space. And the best part is we not just train and give them information like a spoon feed them with information, but we believe that to make our education sustainable is to develop and groom communities. That's the most important part. So they can stay together, learn together, and move forward together. So in Upper Langit, we have 4 communities. We have Upper Langit Space Explorer. This one is meant for kids, for primary schools. And we have Upper Langit volunteers. We have numbers of people who actually want to participate in space activities, but they don't know where to go. So we have Upper Langit volunteers. We have engineers. We have numbers of teachers, lecturers, lawyers, and some of them are really interested to join the volunteers. And also we have Upper Langit Stargazers community, those who are enthusiasts with astronomy and space activities. They want to look at stars, moon, and everything. So we have the Stargazers community, and the best part is we have, I think this one is the recent one, and this one will be the backbone for Upper Langit as well. We have Upper Langit community for educators, we call ACE. So we help educators to train these kids how to learn about space. So when they go to school, they know what to do and what to teach. So yeah, so that is a big thing. And the best part, I kept the best for, the last one. We are also working closely with Angkasa-X to provide a basic satellite education for kids and teenagers. Soon, we will have a proper basic satellite education that we will offer to our Malaysian kids and teenage to learn about satellite. So this we hope will spark interest for our future engineers, satellite builders, to help our nation. That will help our country to sustain what we are actually doing right now.
Wow, that's Dr. Billy and Dr. Sean has planned their hiring 15 years ahead already, right?
We are hiring the youngsters, yeah.
Start them at 10. So Hafiz,
yeah.
so from the crowd and for anyone watching this, especially those who are parents or they have nieces or children across, what advice do you have for them? How do you then think they should nurture their young ones or even their siblings, or to then have a lot more interest in this space and grow their interest here?
All right, thank you. I think I have a lot of questions from parents asking me and my team about. I have a kid who likes space a lot. They go browse everything about space, rocket, planet, everything. And the parent keep asking me, do you know where I can teach my kids if we don't have the knowledge? So that's why Upper Langit come in. The thing is, the important part is parents should support the kids' interest. We meet a lot of parents who they have numbers of kids who are really interested about space and tell me what they know more about us, because they're being exposed with YouTube. They learn about black holes, satellite. They can name it. That's something that interesting. And when parents want to support the kids, they need to expose them to the right channel. We have a lot of activities right now in nationwide. But then you need to know which one will guide them to the right path. It's not just one-off activities. It should be like sustainable activities so they won't left behind. And important also to put our kids to the mission. We parents, our nation need to understand that Malaysia have our national space mission. It has been shared by the MISA during the ROU that day. So I believe Dr. Noemi also mentioned about that. The National Space Mission, the National Space Exploration 2030. So when we have a mission, the kids know what actually our nation are heading towards, and they will believe that they want to be a part of it. So put them in the mission, and it will help build our local expertise. And we need to show them which are the Malaysian company can support them in the future. So we don't want them to just learn and at the end of the day, ask them, where do you want to go for a career? So they will think, I need to go outside. To go to the overseas. So yeah, right now what we see, the Angkasa-X providing provide future career for our kids. So they should see that in the future, I want to work with Angkasa-X. And that will instill confidence and belief that Malaysia can have our own space mission, space technology, and also space and also satellites. So that's the thing that we want our kids to have. It's not just about the knowledge about space and also technology, but to have the belief that we can, then we should.
Right. Brilliant, Hafiz, brilliant. I'm
Thank
really
you,
impressed. Yes. So Dr. William, I'm gonna now go into because as you can see, the whole focus is now more or less on Angkasa-X needing to deliver this, right? I think you're aware of this already. So I'm going to ask you from macroeconomic level, right? Because on the operations of this, right? So now with all the digital transformation that's going on, how do you think the satellite connectivity or what applications specifically can escalate the economy for this portion? And start out a digital transformation, yeah.
Okay. Well, as everyone knows that digital transformation actually originates from the Industrial Revolution 4.0 itself. What defines actually a digital transformation? Actually, there's many definitions for digital transformation, but at the end of the day, is that I think everyone wants their lives to be simpler. Everyone wants things to be much easier done. Do not need to slog like before. So that's where you talk about autonomous. That's where you talk about applications development that is helping the mankind overcoming challenges. What we term as basically technologically advancement in the applications to help the community, to help the mankind itself. So therefore, all these applications need one thing in common, that is internet connectivity. And I think everyone knows that during our pandemic times here itself, everyone is locked down. But how do you actually communicate? It's only with internet connectivity. That's where Angkasa-X is really focused on this pillar itself, that is to provide internet connectivity to all people concerned. And how do we actually do that? Well, first of all, digital transformation is something that that needs internet connectivity. So in doing so, applications can be developed. But what is the difference between Angkasa-X, LEO satellite constellation compared to a GEO satellite? They already have a lot of satellites outside there. So the difference is very straightforward, because the conventional GEO satellites, they do not have very low latencies. With the new development for digital transformation, you need applications that is running very fast behind, and the low latencies their main concern. So therefore, LEO constellations, internet connectivity satellites will be at the forefront that is needed by them to actually turn the economy into a more Industrial Revolution 4.0, or so-called term as digital transformation.
Right. Okay. I love the use of the word LEO since it's August. See? Yeah. So just to add on, right? So we've seen in the more rural areas, whether it's Sabah, Sarawak, and the whole band itself, right? There's a lot of people who actually have network connectivity issues, and the same thing that's Angkasa-X main problem that we're looking to solve, right? How do you then say that how is Angkasa-X's satellite as a service really going to solve this, and will it be done fast enough in terms of timing?
Well, Shankar, I think that's a very good question. During this pandemic times, everyone is looking for internet connectivity, and everyone wants it now. In fact, if I can, I would like to upgrade my home's internet connectivity. As you know, satellite connectivity is much more easy to deploy compared to a traditional network fiberization. So the reason because is basically, as long as you have all the satellites up in orbit, you can actually beam down the so-called signal down to the ground itself. But of course, at the end of the day, the question is how soon, all right? So I think I have to answer that question itself. We are launching our first satellite next year, third quarter to fourth quarter of next year, 2022. Our first satellite will be a AIS satellite itself. So that will be our first demonstrator satellite. Further on, after that, we will be continuously launching our satellites in 2024 and 2023 and 2024. By 2024, you should see some commercial services being rolled out for internet connectivity. All the people in the rural area can expect some internet connectivity. If not, what you say here, inshallah itself, by 2025, you have total connectivity from our LEO constellation by Angkasa-X itself.
Right. Brilliant. Okay, sir. So you guys are also just all over the press, to be very honest. If you just Google Angkasa-X, you guys are like on a week-by-week basis in the press. So there is one excerpt that I took away, is that you had a signing ceremony with Halbutech, Halbutech. Yes, sorry. Right. And this was under the 𝐵IMP-IAGA's region, right? Can you please elaborate on this? Because As you can see, I'm not too
Okay.
sure on this.
This one is going to be a bit
I can't even get it right, even when I wrote it down.
Okay. All right. This is going to be a bit lengthy, but first of all, I like to explain a little bit your so-called when people say 𝐵IMM-𝐸𝐴𝐺𝐴. Actually, 𝐵IMM-𝐸𝐴𝐺𝐴 is actually a sub-economic development council formed in 1994 by the heads of 4 countries. Who are the 4 countries? They are Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Philippines. And the name 𝐵IMM-𝐸𝐴𝐺𝐴, BIMPEAGA, stands for Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East Asia Growth Area itself. So this council's task is to actually look into the development of the underserved area or rural areas in the actual in the Southeast Asia region itself. And because of this council itself, they have actually aligned us or facilitated us to team up with 𝐷𝐷𝐷, a company in which we are going to work together to develop the internet connectivity for this region in the underserved area itself. So that is in line with all the collaborative effort between all these 4 countries' government and all of these 4 countries' so-called rural citizens in the area will be looking at AngkasaX internet connectivity very soon. One of the first initiatives that we are actually launching together with 𝐷𝐷𝐷, the company that's facilitated by 𝐵IMM-𝐸𝐴𝐺𝐴, is to look into the internet connectivity related services such as Islamic financing, okay, to the rural area, services involving in edge computing data centers, having data centers in the rural area. We're talking about revolutionary compared to whatever you have is always data centers in the urban areas because of the connectivity. We are able to provide connectivity to the rural area. So therefore, they are also looking into the services of providing a data center in the rural area. And of course, one of the top one would be to actually facilitate in the tracking of halal products itself. So as you know, the region of Islamic countries, you have Brunei, because Brunei is actually the chairman of this sub-economic development council. So they're actually promoting on the halal products tracking itself. So these are some of the initiatives that we're working together with 𝐷𝐷𝐷 under facilitation of 𝐵IMM-𝐸𝐴𝐺𝐴.
Right, just a very stupid question, sir. It might be a very stupid question. This 𝐷𝐷𝐷, which country is it from? Or is it also another amalgamation of an initiative? Like 𝐵IMM-𝐸𝐴𝐺𝐴 is
it's a Brunei company.
Right.
It is a Brunei company from Brunei company, of course. When we are working with the facilitation of 𝐵IMM-𝐸𝐴𝐺𝐴, they of course will be starting with a Brunei company. Why? One of the largest island is called the Borneo Island, which is really, really underserved if you look at all the geographical area concerned. So that's where they don't like to start with that area concern.
So this then covers.
If I may add a few things, okay, I think Borneo Island is the 3rd largest island in the world. Okay, it is very much not connected because of a lot of reasons. Okay, there's a Kalimantan in there. There's Brunei. There is Sabah, Sarawak. Okay, again, it has a lot of terrains, a lot of mountains, jungles. It has a lot of natural resources. Why is it not developed? Okay, because it's lacking of connectivities. Okay. So one of the things that we have launched, announced a few weeks ago, okay, is to build a satellite-connected Borneo Island. Okay, so if you can use the satellite connectivity to connect the entire Borneo, okay, to provide not only internet connectivity, we're talking about IoT, we're talking about AIS for inland and onshore logistic and tracking capabilities and Earth observations. We can truly connect the entire island with all these facilities for these services. So if we could connect Borneo into a connected island, so a lot of places in the world that we can actually use this technology that prove that can bring connectivity to the rural area. I noticed there's a lot of questions in the chat group, so maybe we just go a bit faster, then we can answer more.
Yeah, so I've just got a few more questions for you, sir. We're going to talk about my first love, the one most closest to my heart, about money, obviously, right? So after I ask you all my monetary questions, then we can get to the crowd, right? So the first one, sir, just a very quick intuitive sense from you. What do you think your customers are going to be, and what do you think your top line is going to look like in terms of revenue? How much? Just an overview. Please don't put up a spreadsheet, sir. I'm off duty now.
Our business model, okay, from day one is to provide bandwidth, okay, for the Southeast Asian countries. Okay, we will choose to work on a B2B setup. Okay, that means we will work with the ASEAN telcos, ISV, and the solutions services provider. So what it is, we will work with telco to supply our bandwidth to them, so they can in return, okay, use our bandwidth to serve their customers. Okay, and this could be in the urban area, it could be in the sub-rural area. In the really rural area that the telco has no intention to provide the last mile connectivity, whether it's a GSM network. For instance, Kuching, 1,000 kilometers into the deep jungle, there's 1,000 people living there. If telco has no interest, okay, to invest pulling the cable, okay, or because the community update is too small, so we will work with our partner to provide hotspot areas for those small communities. So in terms of go to business model, okay, as much as possible, we will work with on a B2B setting. We work with telcos in Southeast Asia. So we will not be cannibalizing, we will not be competing with the telcos, but we will become a very good partners, okay, to the telco and ISP. Okay, as Dr. William has mentioned, we are also rolling out edge data center. So as much as possible, okay, not only connectivity, we actually do digital village. We only do smart city. We actually roll out digital transformations, okay, to the rural area communities. Okay. The second question is, where does the revenue come from? The biggest chunk of revenue is still coming from the provisioning of satellite internet, okay, to the rural area in Southeast Asia. Okay, there are 667 million population in Southeast Asia. The recent statistics that we study, we gather, they are easily 50%, which about 250 million population in Southeast Asia are living in the rural area. Take Indonesia by example, okay, 50% of Indonesians are either in the rural area with very limited connectivity or in the rural area that without connectivities. So these are the target of customers that we would like to serve, okay, together with our telco partners. Again, there are 350 million populations out there. Our plan is in the next 10 years, okay, try to serve up to 5 to 10% of this population in Southeast Asia to actually provide connectivity to them, okay, at a much discounted rate. We will not be selling our rate as Starlink, Elon Musk say, global pricing $99 per month. We will be selling a lot cheaper because again, we have to do local pricing for each of the country, okay, selling to Singapore and selling to Laos, Cambodia is a two different pricing. So again, in terms of revenue, we will be focusing on capitalizing satellite internet revenue. So I don't want to get into the numbers, but again, yeah, it's $1 billion revenue.
Okay, so just one more question. This is the press question, which has been going through. I think if you Google Angkasa-X right now, the biggest thing that will come out is the first one about their sorry, wait, I need to read it again. The space technology ecosystem hub for ASEAN in Penang, by the way, in Penang, and also your partnership with 𝐸𝐴𝐻 and Bank of Asia to develop this, and also appointing Bank of Asia as your financial advisor. Please enlighten us on all this. This one, please don't spare no detail, sir. Get as detailed as possible.
Okay. Thanks, Shankel. This is a big announcement that a big collaboration we formed. 𝐸𝐴𝐻 is a subsidiary of a Hong Kong listed company called CMB Vision. Okay, they are in the services. They're in the business of providing satellite services. 𝐸𝐻 is operating 2 geo satellites, okay, for Asia and Africa. So the first partnership that we have with 𝐸𝐻 and CMB Vision is to work with them to bring the supply chain, the satellite ecosystem that they have built in Greater Bay Area, which is China, Hong Kong, that area. We're trying to bring global suppliers of satellite components to introduce this component supplier to set up the R&D center, a localization center in Penang. Okay, that's the first partnership. We are building a Penang Space Tech ecosystem. Okay, a twinning, one in Penang and one in Hong Kong. So by doing this twinning, we can bring not only technology from the Northern Asia part into Malaysia, we are also trying to bring their funding into Malaysia, into Southeast Asia, to develop our space and satellite ecosystem. So through this partnership, okay, we are bringing technology globally, funding globally, and also the current LEO geo satellite they have operating by this 𝐷𝐷. We are starting to roll out services, geo services plus our LEO services starting 2022 next year. So stay tuned for those who are looking for satellite services. We are rolling out our services next year. We are building out a joint services platform, JSP, that consists of geo services and LEO services, and we are doing a pilot, okay, in the beginning of next year in Malaysia. So that's the part of the ecosystem, the supply chain built up in Malaysia. So we are looking forward to bring as many partners from Northern Asia, from the European side, from the US side. We have also set up a US team, okay, that based in the US to bring this partner into Penang. Okay, for all of you who are familiar with Penang, Penang used to call, it is still the Silicon Valley of the East. Okay, there are 350 over MNC, okay, from all around the world, building up their regional center in Penang, supported by 3,000 SMEs in the States. So it has a very strong presence in terms of R&D testing for the E&E industries. Okay, Angkasa-X and 𝐓𝐿 chose Penang to work with because it has an existing so-called E&E community that we can work together. When we bring the company from abroad, we need to have a local partner to team up with. Okay, that's why we look into partnership with the E&E companies in Penang. So go to the second part of the questions. Bank of Asia.
Yes,
Bank of Asia is also being appointed by us, AngkasaX, to be our global financial advisor. So it's a bank, a BVI bank, okay, with HQ in Hong Kong. Bank of Asia is chartered by us, appointed by us, to bring in the investment, the funding for the entire rollout of satellites for Southeast Asia region. And also, they have communicated this desire and this plan to the Chief Minister of Penang, okay, last Monday. Okay, we are also bringing in, they are also bringing funding to develop a space tech park in Penang, riding on this current situation in Penang, okay, the E&E situation in Penang. So when we are saying that, okay, this partnership with Bank of Asia have secured the funding for us to launch, to build the satellites. So what we need to do is really, as Dr. Williams said, we need to get our orbits, we need to get our satellite ready, we need to launch it, we need to provision our services. So it's a very exciting news for us.
Okay, sir. So I will now open the questions to the floor and we'll take as many as possible before concluding it tonight. So if for a message for the crowd before I begin, if you would like someone specific to answer, please do shout out their name along with your question. So I'll start with the one asked from Chin. Since this one had nobody, I'm going to choose you, Dr. William, of course, right? So I'm sure, so he says that I'm sure we know about undersea sabotage policy, Facebook and Google, to build undersea cables to increase internet speed and boost connectivity, unfortunately foregoing Malaysia. Will LEO satellite make undersea cable a thing of the past? And do you foresee replacing the requirements for undersea cable completely for internet? Well, I love this question. Thank you, Chin. Can you pat yourself on the back?
I think that's a very good question with the current scenario with the cabotage issue in Malaysia. My personal opinion is that the submarine cables and the satellite in the orbit itself, they will work hand in hand together because there's just no one party or one solution or alternative solution for connectivity will overtake the other party. Because what? Let's put it this way. After all, at the end of the day, the submarine cables are here to stay. They have been laid. So the provider or the owners of submarine cables will have to ROI those cables anyway itself. So what LEO satellite constellations can do is to complement. So in this case itself, well, like the latest news we mentioned, Facebook and actually Google bypassed Malaysia and went to Indonesia and surrounding countries that did not want to land their so-called submarine cables in Malaysia for whatever reason we all know. So the question here is that, will LEO satellite, I think the main question is, will LEO satellite be able to help? Yes, itself, yes. Yes, LEO satellite constellation will be a help because why? One of the main things that submarine cables bring to the table is that they are bringing high speed. Now, latest submarine cables are all high speed submarine cables itself. So they bring low latency connectivities. So it's similar to LEO satellite constellation, which we bring low latency as well. So we actually help them out itself because most importantly, I think we can deploy our satellite much faster. To lay the submarine cables, it takes a long time and it takes a lot of time. Not to mention disruption in marine life as well. And also, we actually are approving authorities in each and every nation itself. So it's going to take some time. But for us, we hope to be able to roll it out as soon as possible to help all the people in the rural areas.
Allow me to comment a bit more on this. Okay, first of all, even though you have a submarine cable, you still have to pull the last mile to the jungle. Okay, who's going to pay for the bill to put the last mile to the jungle? If from the city to the jungle to the rural area is 1,000 kilometers. So even with submarine cable, it does not solve the rural connectivity issues. It would just bring a bigger pipe to your doorstep. Yeah, Telecom Malaysia got a bigger pipe, but how do Telecom Malaysia serve the rural area, 2,000 kilometers in the jungle? Satellite still have the advantage. Satellite internet still have the advantage for rapid deployment into the rural area. Okay, I'm not saying we'll replace submarine cable, but it has a different usage. Okay, for submarine cable, but it will be complementary.
Okay, so the next question from Amni. You've asked the question in the chat box and also in the Q&A segment. I'll answer the one in the chat one first because you asked it some time back, right? This one I think I'll give it to Dr. Noor, right? So this is a question on new space itself. With the new expansion, with with a lot more privatization, does this then not open doors for monopoly or oligopolies in this case? Because there'll be one or two individuals who are running this business, isn't it? Significantly, there's a high risk of massive profiteering and stuff like that.
I think it's contradict from what he said, because it actually open more for people to involve, and we will break the monopoly. Because previously we can see only one or two company afford to go to the space, but now because we have a different funding scheme, even you can make the satellite and send to the space because the cost is lower now, so you can make business from there. So actually, new space give more opportunities to others to work in space.
New space give birth to Angkasa-X.
Yes.
God bless.
God bless.
I think
I think for the profiteering, it's also if you more player in the industry, you give more options, so the price can be reduced, of course.
I think that way we agree on that. I mean, more player, more happier, and then the more player, and the price will be cheaper.
Okay, Hafiz, this next question is for you. Probably just a very quick answer. How do you guys, for all the activities that you've covered, right? I think this is a question from Yap. I think Yap can check you guys out personally, but he just asked on a very high level, how do you guys organize your activity given the pandemic and stuff?
Oh, okay. We use online trade online. We use internet. Yeah, we use internet. So yeah, that's the thing. Everybody internet right now. So yeah, we do have people from outskirts. I mean, some of them from Sabah, from Sarawak. Yeah, we do have some of them parents who actually say, my kids just have about 1 hour to join you, but I'm sorry because the internet connectivity won't allow us. But at least my kid join you.
Right.
That's what we get. Yeah, so I think it's important to have the internet connectivity goes to the area where it's not before.
Okay, so this one I'm going to amalgamate two questions together, right? So the first one is, any advice for current fresh graduates in engineering who wants to be involved in our country space program? So this one I'll leave the question up for any of you to answer. And then the next one is, will there be any internship position opening for Angkasa-X or for undergraduate students?
I think I'll get Dr. Remy to answer the first question and answer the second question. Fresh graduate engineering.
Actually, you can involve with the space activities. It's not really that like the nation space activities, but you can start small. You can be a volunteers. You can join NGO first, and if you want to move to the industry to work with them, then you have to prove to them that you can do better, or you're special. Because we have lots of engineers, but what makes you special to be in this space industry? Because the space industry, you have to like to think beyond others. You want to see something in space, and you need to be more. You have to be. I think if Dr. really want to choose who going to work with the Angkasa-X, he want the best from the best.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dr. William, you probably...
That's a very good point. Okay. Dr. William, perhaps you can explain a bit about our program, our professional program that we roll out. So for those new grads, engineer who wants to be part of our team or to contribute to the space program. So yeah, you want to explain that?
Yes,
yeah?
of course. Actually, with the new professional course that we are rolling out together with University Science Malaysia, even though you are probably an undergraduate now or probably a degree graduate itself, so you can actually enroll in that program itself. Doesn't matter whether you are a graduate from arts or whatever, as long as you have the enthusiasm and some basic fundamentals of in mathematics and science itself, or even a related degree. We can be a computer engineering degree itself. So you can actually participate, because why? Our whole entire program is not tailored for whatever other people is thinking of. That means you get a degree and that's it. No. The whole essence of our program is to create more job opportunities, meaning that we give you not only on the theoretical side, you get a hands-on practice in the designing of a satellite. We have equipments put in place for three-dimensional simulations. We have test benches for you to actually work on. And on top of that, we even nurture you guys to actually design a satellite and launch your own satellites. Of course, launching a satellite needs some funding, of course. That one, once you're put there will be a lot of other people, a lot of corporates outside down there who will be willing to actually sponsor for you to launch the design of the satellite which you have developed yourself. So basically what we are trying to say here is that not many universities outside actually give you hands-on experience itself. What we are trying to do is that we give you an opportunity to find a job, and as well, most importantly, maybe what we like to do is the talent development. That's what we do. We want to develop the next generation of satellite engineers.
Right.
Well said. We need the talent.
Okay. So there's actually a lot of questions. It's overflowing with questions. So we'll probably wrap this up by 9:55, but we get through questions in a more rapid succession, just to answer as many as possible, right? So I think this one's a bit more
SpaceX, yeah.
Yeah, so this one's a bit more sentimental, but I'll go through it anyway. I think Hafiz, you can answer this for the children out there. With satellites blooming and all the space debris on top of us, would this then become blocking our kids from accessing the night sky, or at least get to see the night sky?
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, it become like a debate about this thing that the Starlink or all the satellite really impacted our night sky. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they have like a pro and cons in a way, because that's how the advancement of the technology comes in. Yeah, we need to sacrifice one thing and need to give one thing. We know that everybody we want to have very nice night sky to look at the stars, and astronomers really need it. Yeah, I think in International Astronomical Union also have something. I mean, they have statement about it, and I think other regulators are discussing about how we can make the advancement of the satellite and also communication in using space become more friendly with astronomers. So that's what they are doing right now. There's some of the discussion is still running on, and yeah, a lot of things are actually happening that we believe we should come hand in hand together to preserve the best dark sky and also to provide the connectivity to the rural area. So yeah, we can leave one, but then we know which one more important, and we hope we can preserve both at the same time.
So, Dr. William, I'm going to do 2 questions for you in quick succession. So, who have you chosen to launch your LEO satellites, and how large is the engineering team right now? I think there's going to be a lot of applicants.
Okay, the first question is a very good question. Obviously, I won't be able to disclose who we have chosen to launch our satellite. But what I can say is that whoever the launcher is going to be will be definitely makes sense for us, the most economical sense for us. We'll choose the most viable ones. Okay, you guys can take a guess who has the most economical rocket launching in the world currently. Okay, so then the second question, what was the second question again? How many
engineering team
members we have in our engineering? Okay, currently I think we have more than 10 engineers. Okay, and if you'd like to know more about them, in fact, 2 of them are actually from the original, like what Dr. Nurimi has said, original engineers who designed the first satellite of 𝐷𝐷𝐷, which was launched in 2009. They are now back with us in Angkasa-X. They have actually gone out of country, out of Malaysia, and we actually get them back just to actually do whatever is necessary as a Malaysian, okay, to bring a total Malaysia Boleh concept that we all can do it, okay. That's what we're having. Of course, there's another person that we're also bringing back. It's on the way back, okay. He has tendered his resignation from Japan all the way, and who has actually done a lot for Malaysia as well. So they are coming back. So that's it.
This is a good friend of Elon Musk.
Okay, so this one, how does satellite transmit a stable internet if they are moving in the low Earth orbit? And are they going to be geostationary? I think Dr. Shorty can answer this, I guess.
Okay, I will try to answer. Okay, again, you're right. This LEO satellite actually rotates the world, the orbit about 27,000 kilometers per hour. So essentially, it's actually traveling very fast. But again, the transmission, okay, it has to be worked together with the constellations. So if it's one satellite, then tak boleh buat lah, huh? So minimum constellation, in our mind, okay, when we launch easily 15 and above, okay, we need to start forming a constellation with the inter-satellite link ISL connectivities. Okay, we can actually gather this group of satellites, okay, from 50 to 500 eventually, okay, to actually work together, okay, to provide connectivity to a region. Okay, so like I say, when it travel around the equator, okay, at some point in time, it will stop in it will come across Southeast Asia, because we have mass constellations. So with the ISL technology, we can actually serve certain nations, okay, certain region in Southeast Asia. Before if the satellite travel, the next one will take over. So the coverage, okay, has to be a number of satellites. Okay, so even though it travel, but again, the technology, okay, it works in such a way. Okay, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I probably want to add on itself. Basically, the LEO satellites works in such a way whereby it hands each other. So the inter-satellite link itself link every satellite together to provide a continuously seamless transition of connectivity signals from the satellite down to Earth itself. As you know, all the LEO satellites are traveling at 27,000 kilometers an hour. So basically, for your information, maybe one satellite, it takes only less than 2 hours to circle the entire Earth itself. So basically, what we do here is that we have steerable phase array antennas on top of our satellite, which will point down to the receiving stations itself. All this entire process is automated. So there's not a need that is manual. It's all fully automated itself.
Right. Okay, sir. Dr. Sean, I'm going to ask you a very difficult question from the crowd, right? How confident are you in securing funding given that you have zero track record? Angkasa-X was just incorporated in 3rd March 2021. You have only put up 10K capital, but would like to raise 10 million. No informed investor will want to invest with this track record. What is your funding strategy should you not secure the required funding from ECF? This is probably the most difficult question we're going to have tonight.
It's not. Like any business entrepreneurs, okay, you have to find a way to survive. Okay, I've been running my business since year 2000. Okay, I founded number of company, listed 3 of them. I've find money. I can build my business up. Okay, Angkasa is just another of my ventures. Okay, my business is a consultancy. I help company to list. Okay, I help company to fundraising. Okay, whatever you see, Angkasa-X Innovation is just a very small subsidiary of the whole group. Okay, because of this ECF campaign, we're trying to offer this opportunity for a lot of Malaysians to come in to invest. Okay, we are doing private placement. Okay, even before ECF, we have raised a couple of million. Okay, the coming one is a private placement. We're going to raise another 5 to 10 million US. Again, funding is the ongoing thing. Okay, it's not something new to us. Okay, between William and I, we list about 4 companies. Okay, in Singapore, in US, in America, in London. So again, it's nothing strange for us. Okay, a business you need to build. Okay, not that we need to put all our savings into it. Again, but it's a valid question. Okay, it's a valid concern. Okay, because this is not the traditional put in 5, 10 million. You can pull yourself off. You can list the company. This investment will cost over 2 billion US. Okay, so the question is, where do you raise the 2 billion? Which I already said in my earlier discussion. Okay,
Bank of Asia.
Bank of Asia. Okay, after hearing, we dealt with Bank of Asia less than 2 months after seeing our track record. Okay, Sean, William, how many companies have listed? We have listed 4. Have you successfully raised money? Yes, of course. Have you exited the company? Yes, we sold the business and we make our money. Okay.
Right.
So the next question is, where's the technology? Oh, of course, technology. We have USM, we have Russia, we have China, whatever company to bring the technology. Okay, where's the market? The market is Southeast Asia. Pretty much whatever bandwidth you can deliver in Southeast Asia, they will take it. Okay, it is like you dig, you are mining gold. Do you worry about whatever gold that you found, there's no market for it? Yeah, you never worry, because internet is always not enough in Southeast Asia. So whoever can deliver quality internet services, somebody will want it. So if there's a market, there is money, there is technology, then Malaysia bole. So what are we lacking? Perhaps it's some confidence. Okay, some confidence. Of course, I am not Elon Musk, but if you study Elon Musk, he was a poor guy as well. He almost went bankrupt. Okay, well, you are seeing the Elon Musk today, about the richest man in the world. But at one point in time, after he exited from his previous investment, he almost went bankrupt. He has to sell all his Tesla shares. Okay, people was crazy. You're a crazy man. You don't even have a building. You don't even have a house. You rent an apartment. Okay, so again, we have to look at successful people. Okay, not all of them start from rich. They have to go through up and down. But every successful man have gone through the challenges in life. Okay, I'm not saying we are different than anybody else, but I believe if you build a business with a track record that we have, okay, we're managed to secure ITU membership. Okay, endorsement by KKMM. Okay, go figure. Why KKMM give us the license? Okay, to actually operate a satellite. So again, it has to be based on credential. It has to be for the team. Okay. Why is USM, why is the state government, why is all these so-called partners believe in us? So in a nutshell, okay, I have to say, okay, again, building a business is not entirely based on how much money you have in your pockets. Okay, it's about what you believe is what you actually endure. There will be people around you come to tell you, Malaysia can build satellite, man. That's an American thing. Malaysia, you better go and tanam durian. But that's not the point. Okay, every country will have good people to do something, to excel in something. Okay, the thumb drive that we hold, the stuff that we built are built by Malaysians. Okay, why can't Angkasa-X be the next successful one?
Right, brilliant, sir. So much passion. Okay, Dr. Williams, I have a question on you. So, with launching of all this, right? So there's a question from Akil. I'll just read it out. It's easier. talking about environmental impact, do you have a mitigation plan for space debris, considering that you're launching thousands of these?
I think that's a very valid and good question.
Right.
Well, not many people understand the mechanics or the physics of the space debris itself. Let me highlight a few points at this. You see, when you actually launch a satellite up into orbit and it's at LEO, that means between 500 to 1,000 kilometers away from orbit from Earth itself, you are very close to Earth gravity. Over time itself, if you do not move, spin, the actually debris or the equipment or the satellite will slowly fall down to Earth because of the gravitational pull from the Earth itself. So once it goes back down, the atmospheric differences will actually cause the entire debris or the so-called whatever left behind to be burned up in space itself. So experts has actually indicated that more than 75% of all the smaller debris which is left behind, whether it is the dead satellite itself or even a satellite itself, small asteroid itself, it will also burn as it enters the Earth atmosphere itself. So most of the debris will be burned. What happens to the other 25% of it? Yes, of course. These 25% is whereby 𝐸𝐴𝐴𝐵 actually mentioned that we will probably have to live with it. That's the reason why you see US actually try to get a contractor or get a law out that they would like to have another services provided to remove debris in the space. Okay, that is one of the initiatives to actually look into the possibility of removing space debris that's still up there and not be able to burn by the atmosphere when it goes down back to Earth itself.
Right. Okay. John Rambo, you've asked this question twice. It's a very, very technical question about how do you even calculate the derivation for the satellite model. So I think we'll skip that for now. For all you guys, right, for the questions that we did not answer, please go into the pitch in equity page for Angkasa-X and list all your questions there. They will answer all the questions there. Yeah. So we might just take one or two more, right? Let's see. So the first one, again, for you, Dr. William, the launching pad for Angkasa-X will be in Malaysia or somewhere outside. Will it be in Malaysia or outside Malaysia? And since our talent expertise are not there yet, as the plan to launch in 2022.
Yep. Okay. A simple, straightforward question. The launching will be out of Malaysia for sure itself, because Angkasa-X is not a launch company itself. We focus on satellite development itself, and we design, develop, and assemble the satellite. So the actually launching will be outsourced to a third-party contractor, and it will definitely be not in Malaysia itself. Right. As I mentioned earlier on, it will be whoever gives us the best, most economical launch cost, we will be working with them.
Right.
We go by dollar and cents.
From Tengku Ari to you, Dr. Sean. How will we avoid current satellites that are orbiting, and what level low LEO are we projecting? So this is again the technical portions of how to actually calculate this, right?
Sorry, I didn't get the questions. What was that?
So how will we avoid the current satellites that are already orbiting in space, and what are the level of the LEO are we projecting? I think in terms of the height.
Okay. Again, I think Dr. Nuremi has mentioned. Okay, Malaysia in 2009. Okay, started launching our first satellite into the near equatorial orbit. Okay, near equatorial orbit, as many predict, it's not as congested as the polar orbits. Okay, I mean, as people like Starlink, China, Russian, they are launching their satellite into the polar orbits. Okay, that is the congested one. Even though you want to launch today a satellite, okay, probably you'll secure an orbit about 1,002,007 kilometers from the surface of Earth, because all the good orbits, okay, thank you very much, is owned by Elon Musk. Or whoever came before, because ITU govern this whole so-called granting of orbits is on a first come first served basis. Okay, you come in now, you get the whatever is available out there. If you come in next year, sorry, that orbit is not available. Why don't you choose another one? So until such day, from 5,000 kilometers to 2,000 kilometers in the polar orbits run out, okay, there is no more orbit for you. So we don't know when, but it will happen one day. But the equatorial orbit, okay, is very little use, okay, very few satellites. Well, partly because we don't have America, we don't have Russia, China. okay, actually have the territory cover the so-called equatorial orbit. Okay, so again, what AngkasaX trying to launch, okay, is to launch our satellite into the equatorial orbit, the new equatorial orbit, which is, as you may have predicted, there's not many there. Okay, so again, ITU, okay, we need to get our process right to get ITU to apply whatever the best available orbit that AngkasaX can have. That's why it's important to become an ITU member. That will give us the eligibility, okay, to apply for the orbit and the launch of the satellites. So hopefully, finger crossed, Malaysia, AngkasaX can get a very good orbit, okay, from the equatorial orbit, near equatorial orbit that eventually will help the Southeast Asia region. So that's, we're trying to launch 500, okay, in the next 10 years, which is not a lot, okay, compared to what Starlink want to launch 42,000 in the next 10 years. Okay, I think the congestion for equatorial orbit is not as bad, okay, as the polar orbit. So it will not be presenting a problem for us for now.
Right. Okay, sir. So again, I'll just do a quick shout. I've dropped the link in the chat box to our AngkasaX Q&A. Please, Dr. Sharon, Dr. William, I think you're going to be flooded with questions for the next 2 days.
I think a few things I may want to answer. Okay.
Okay, you can go ahead.
There's a big question answer about SpaceX. Okay. SpaceX is going to commoditize the industries. Okay. How can you compete? Okay. I think in the new world right now, or new space, whatever they call it these days, there will not be one monopoly. That means there will not be one Starlink serve the entire world. Every country in the world must use Starlink. That is not going to happen. Okay, if that happened 50 years ago, AT&T would have ruled the world. Okay, America was stronger. Every telco in the world must use AT&T because all your technology switching network is from AT&T. But that didn't happen. So Starlink would not conquer the world. Let me be assured to that, okay? So every country, every region will have their own space satellite program, okay, to provide satellite services to their region. So do not be over concerned that America, because it's Elon Musk, they will conquer the world. It will not happen. So are we competing? We are not. We are promoting the same industries, okay? Yep. Toyota is building Toyota car. Proton is building Proton car. Are we competitor? Yes, we are. But in a certain extent, we are promoting car. Okay. So are we also competitor? Yes, we are competitor. So I don't see as a competitor, but a comparator. So we do the same thing to promote one industry. Without SpaceX, I don't think you will hear AngkasaX. Okay, because of the success that SpaceX, because of Starlink, because the commoditizations of the satellite components. Okay, it used to be 5, 10, 15 million to build a LEO satellite. Maybe now can come down to 2 to 3 million. That's how much Starlink is paying to build a satellite of a 200 something kilogram. Because of this commoditizations of the satellite. So that's why it is viable for the public sector to come in and invest. In the past, everything is billion-dollar investment. Only the government can afford. Okay, but now because it's the number is much smaller, and the good thing about LEO satellite, you can launch 10, 20, 10, 20. It's just like, you know, building a data center. You don't have to buy a supercomputer. You can buy small. When you sign up more clients, you build more satellite. Unlike GEO, you have to build one big thing, spend 1.5 billion, and look for a customer. But LEO has the scalability that we can scale up accordingly. So I think a lot of questions are surrounding Starlink. Okay, one more thing before I pass the floor back to Shankar. Okay, there is also a national security, a data security issue. If every packet of our data go to the same network owned by American government, anything happen in that network, you think Malaysia government can have a say? What do you do with my data? Okay, so because it's not in our jurisdiction. Okay, even though something happened in national security, American government, sorry, don't use my network because I can't guarantee national security. So again, it comes down to one point. Are we relying on American network, AT&T, or we build our own Cellcom and Maxis?
Right. Okay, I guess with that, Dr. Sean, we will play a video, and then right after that, have a if the panelists all can just stay back for one last quick session to just address the crowd, and then after that we can conclude for the day. Yeah.
Humans evolve from ground to sky to space. Supercomputers that sit perfectly inside our pocket. But what are devices without its core? Between dreams and possibilities, there's a bridge. Internet connectivity. Yet half of the world, 3.6 billion people, are unconnected. Over 50% of Southeast Asians live without internet connectivity. Angkasa-X is here to bridge the digital divide. Our involvement? Designing, building, and launching of LEO satellites to provision satellite internet and related services in ASEAN region, especially those living in remote rural areas. The new space race has begun. The global space industry will surge over $1 trillion by 2040. Estimated 75,000 LEO communication satellite launches in the next decade. Let's not sit idle. It's time for Malaysia to lead, with our resources pioneering space and satellite engineering in ASEAN. We will set up the ASEAN Link satellite constellation, an estimated 500 LEO communication satellites designed in Malaysia to provision satellite as a service for ASEAN countries. Angkasa-X will lead the development of ASEAN space economy to generate revenue from provisioning of satellite internet services, IoT services, navigational and tracking services, rural agricultural activities, e-commerce services, fishery and maritime services, and more. These are billion US business for Angkasa-X. Angkasa-X has plans to raise working capital from private placement, equity crowdfunding, and float Angkasa-X in the U.S. capital market. With a minimal of Ringgit Malaysia 3,000 investment for this campaign, your investment is for accelerating LEO satellites research and development in Malaysia and building the ASEAN Link satellite constellation, the ASEAN version of SpaceX's Starlink. Here's the icing on the cake. We guarantee a U.S. IPO share swap exit within 18 months and make very good return of investment. Join us to claim our space now.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for this session. I think not only me, I think the crowd loved it. I think we can feel the boiling enthusiasm that I had for this session. Thank you, Hafiz. Thank you, Dr. Noor. Thank you, and Dr. William and Dr. Sean, as always. I always love chatting with you guys. Do you have any last words for the crowd and probably for each other as well before we close the night?
I'll just do a quick wrap up. Okay. Angkasa-X, as I say, is a national dream.
I think I disconnected. I need the satellite now. Sorry, can you guys hear me now? Sorry.
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay.
Sorry, Dr. Sean. I'm sorry I interrupted. Please continue.
No worries. As I say, Angkasa-X is a national dream. Okay. The reason why we chose Angkasa-X is because it's Angkasa. Okay. And we intend to make it a national brand. Okay, for Malaysia to be proud of. So for doing so, okay, there's a question asked earlier, where's the funding come from? We have our own ways to raise funds. Okay, we have invested in R&D. We have hired a handful of a dozen of people in the engineering team to build our own IP, to build our own technologies. Okay, we are rolling out so-called the ASEAN connectivities. So with this constellation that we built, we can roll out to our ASEAN countries. Okay, without the financing backing that we have, we can never do that. So whatever you see, okay, the $10 whatever company, if you are interested to know more, you can reach out to us. So we also invest in talent development. Okay, we are also bringing courses into Malaysia from Russia, China, and the US to develop our local talent. Okay, whether you are a college graduate, whether you are a professional that actually intend to get yourself into the global satellite so-called industries. Okay, you can sign up our courses. We are paid to bring these courses into Malaysia. Okay, we also invest into set up our space ecosystem, our space tech park in Malaysia. Okay, it's going to be cost a couple of billion to do that. But again, we have secured those funding. Okay, again, the most important thing is we have the track record to attract companies into set up the R&D localization center in Malaysia. Thanks to Penang, thanks to Malaysia government, we have the track record. Many US companies set up the R&D center in Malaysia. We create jobs, definitely. Okay, if you are not happy with your pay right now, you want to get a higher paid job, okay, get yourself into satellite engineering, okay, you're sure to get a higher paid job. And we are working with the government, okay, to accelerate SME digitalizations, okay, especially after the post-pandemic. SME need to reinvent themselves. Every company, every SME have to go to digitalizations, okay. So what it is, we are providing that opportunity for SME in the rural area. And last but most importantly, we offer social inclusions. We are not selling $99 to all the rich people, but we are also coming out with a program to the rural area people who cannot afford to pay. So
right.
That's my, okay, anybody else? Anyone to add?
Dr. William?
Dr. Remy?
Well, I would like to end this session with a quote from the Turkey information minister. He said, or I quote itself, if any country that does not get themselves involved in space will have no more say on Earth in 5 years' time. That, I quote, was from the Turkey information minister itself, as he was presenting to the entire Turkish cabinet to seek for funding back in year 2020. And beginning of this year, 2021, Mr. Erdogan, the president of Turkey, actually approved the financial for the space program to be initiated. And they have actually decided to put a milestone by 2023, end of 2023, they intend to put their first Turkish astronaut on the moon itself. So that's how determined they are, okay? And we as Malaysians in the Southeast Asia, we must do something. If we don't do something right now, like what the Turkish information minister have said, we may have no say in the near future if we don't do something about it. That's my quote for the day.
Okay. The urgency.
That is intimidating. Hafiz, any last words from you?
All right, thank you. All right, okay, so I want to share my story. I mean, once I have met the Charles Bolden, the ex-director of NASA, in 2019 when he visited Malaysia and then come and join us to launch our national project for Name Exoworld, where Malaysia has given the stars and planet to be named. So during the moment, he was asked why American be a space giant like today, how? And you know what did he say? We are lucky to have a president who brave enough to say we choose to go to the moon in this decade and to do other things, not because of they are easy, but because they are hard. So yeah, guys, we have mission in front of us. So let's take the mission seriously. And I believe if we work collaboratively and work together and believe with the mission, I mean, nothing is impossible. That's all from me.
Dr. Noor, please. I enjoyed your session as well a lot. I want to say the most, but then the others might get offended by it, so I'm going to say a lot.
I think AngkasaX put back the excitement of public to the space after we have lost the momentum like 20 years. So this is a new beginning for the space industry in Malaysia. So I think everybody need to be part of that.
Yeah. So I guess even thank you, Dr. Sean and Dr. William, for doing a crowdfunding round, simply because now literally anyone can invest, right? And it's for 3,000 ringgit. Anyone can just buy a block and be part of this journey of yours, right? And I'm pretty certain even next week we have a session which is more commercial, where you will go over what is your strategy in terms of monetization, your general pitch itself. So those attending here, please also, if you have any more questions that you want Dr. William and Dr. Sean to answer in terms of their fundraising and their crowdfunding exercise, you can always join there. as well, which is next week, just about 8:30 as well. You can see it on Pechin's Facebook or our Zoom channel as well. So we will also give you guys a shout for that. With that, I guess we can conclude for tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. So, and to the
Thank you.
attendees and the
thank you.
panelists. Right. Cheers. Bye,
Cheers,
guys.
Bye-bye. Thanks for attending. Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming, joining
Thank
us.
you.
Bye-bye.
Shankar, there's still a lot of questions out there. How can we, Richie, can we download those questions so we can answer? I guess it's bye-bye. Thank you very much, Hafiz. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you.
I think we cannot do without you.
Yeah.
Okay, really, the new space is something that we should work together. You see a lot of people interested. It's just